Welcome to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast, where you learn how to accelerate the growth of your online and offline businesses, profits, and personal income. Tune in daily to get the tips, tricks, and tactics that have generated over $100 million in online and offline sales. Now, here's your host, Anthony Flatt.
This is Anthony Flatt, and you're listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast. Today, we're going to talk about email overload, and I'm in email overload right now. And let me tell you how I got here. Many years ago in my day job, I did a big contract with a large company, and there was a lot of pressure to get this contract signed. There's a lot of pressure to get this deal done. And I literally was tasked by my company with going and sitting in the customer's lobby and staying at a hotel that was literally about a block away for over a week, waiting for this contract to get signed. Now, this contract eventually produced $7.8 million in sales. So this was not a little contract. This was a very big contract. And it was so important to get it done. And it was so important to get it done by the end of our business year that when it came time to sign the contract, our executive management team was traveling internationally and was unavailable. So I was directed by our VP of Marketing and VP of Sales to execute the contract myself, get the deal done, and move forward. Well, that happened. I executed the contract. We got the deal done. We moved forward. Everybody was happy. It was a great contract. In the contract, we had agreed to a clause that said if our customer had bought so many, I think it was tens of thousands of product over a period of time, we would give them a small kickback, a small reduction per item that they could then use as a credit. Now, this was above and beyond the dollar amount on the contract. The contract said they were going to buy X, and we said if you buy more than X, we'll give you this discount on future deals. So that all happened. Several years went by, and one day the customer came back and said, we've done well more than what we agreed to do in the contract. We would like our discount now. Well, when we sat down and calculated the discount, it amounted to about $250,000 in discounts. And our company at that point in time and our leadership basically said, what is this? Why are they asking for this? Why do we have to give this to them? And I pointed out that it's in the contract. That's what we agreed to. That's what we agreed to do several years earlier. And that they were truly owed this $250,000 discount. And my company lost their mind. There's no way we're going to give this money. Who signed this? Who agreed to this? And over the course of the next week, there was a bunch of the executives who sent emails wanting to know, okay, who agreed to this? Who wrote the contract? Who signed the contract? Who executed it? And that VP of sales, that VP of marketing, two different guys that told me to execute the contract, all of a sudden had amnesia and started to position this as if I had went out on my own and signed this contract without their permission and without their consent. So they just basically said, I have no idea why he signed the contract. Anthony was out doing this thing on his own. I don't know what the deal is. And so fortunately for me, I had went back, and it took me probably 3 or 4 days looking back through emails, and I found a 2-year-old email from the vice president of marketing telling me to execute the contract, to get it done now. We need it in for this year. Execute the contract. We'll get it done. Move this thing forward. So after a week of this vice president of marketing and our VP of sales agreeing with him that nobody knew what was going on and that Anthony was rogue and out signing this contract by himself, I was able to produce evidence that proved that these guys not only knew about it, but it was on their direction that I signed the contract to begin with. Now, if I hadn't found that email, I surely would have been fired, and I would have been the scapegoat that they would have used to try to get out of owing the customer this $250,000 credit. That was the lesson that taught me to never delete email. Now, fast forward it to today, many years later, I haven't deleted very emails ever. I have multiple email accounts, and I currently have over 500,000 emails in about 5 or 6 email accounts. Now, I am to the point, when I talk about email overload, I'm to the point now that I can't get an email from anybody hardly without losing it. If I look online in Gmail, I get so many emails every single day that when an email lands at the top of my inbox, within minutes, it is off the first page and on to the second or third page of the email. So they're coming in so quickly that I can't even read them. So people ask me, did you get my email? And I'm like, I have no idea. It's on page 3, 4, 5, or 10 or whatever. So I've even gotten to the point where people that know me that want me to read the email, they actually text me to say, hey, I just sent you an email, so that I'll then go look for it, I'll go search for it, and I'll find it. So that has to stop. I need to get a handle on my email. And so what I've done is I've actually hired somebody to work on a regular basis right now. Hopefully it won't be a permanent full-time job, but right now they're working 40 hours a week, just filing away and cleaning up my emails. They're basically going to go through 500,000 emails and file them away and filter them and clean them up. Now, the reason there's 500,000 isn't that I've had 500,000 individual conversations, but over the last 7 or 8 years, I've been on just about every internet marketer's email list. And I've not unsubscribed from those lists on purpose because I want to see what they're saying in their emails. I want to see how often they're sending emails. I want to see how their offers are changing over time. I think there's a lot of valuable information in looking at those emails. Also, there's a lot of really good sales copy in those emails that you can then take and add to your autoresponder list, editing and tweaking. I mean, I'm not saying you cut and paste and copy, because not only is that not a good idea because that's what they created, but it'll also probably get picked up by the spam filters as well, because if it was a popular email, then the spam filters probably got a hold of it as well. So you don't ever want to cut and paste and use one exactly. You want to create your own email, but use those as inspiration, as some guidance on how to create an email. Now, I sign up for those email lists with the marketing companies with just about anybody and everybody. And then I file them away in, Gmail calls it a label, Outlook calls it a folder, but I file those away in a folder. And then I can go back and look at them, as a collection. I can look at all of the emails from a particular internet marketer, be it Russell Brunson, Ryan Dice, John Thornhill. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of internet marketers. And there's guys that have come and gone as well. There's emails that I have from people from 4 or 5 years ago, and they're no longer in business. And I use those to be able to go back and look and see, okay, they're not in business anymore. Is there any value in the emails they ever sent out? And it's kind of funny that you find a lot of the issues that you hear that you shouldn't do that are in their emails, and probably part of the reason why they don't exist anymore, why they're not in business anymore. So just know that there's email overload and it's easy to get into it. Hire somebody to put your stuff away, filter it. Once I get everything put away, I believe the filters will take care of putting away all the marketing emails, and they won't be going to my inbox. They'll be going directly to folders that I can then look at later. I'm moving them all to offline. I want to actually create a database and put them all in a database and make them searchable, and I'm still looking for a tool for that. But for now, I'm just moving them to Outlook, creating a special PST file, trying to keep those PST files under 1 gig. It seems to me that in Outlook, it does a better job managing PST files that are under 1 gig. So whenever my PST files get close to 1 gig, I create an additional PST file and split that off and try to keep those all under 1 gig. But once I get it all filed away, then I think it will be a lot easier to manage all of those emails. But today, right now, I think the guy that's working on it currently went through about 15,000 emails in about a day and a half, and he's working his way through them. So it's going to probably take him another week or two. But once he gets everything put away, I'll be in good shape. But don't wait like I did 7 or 8 years before you go and try to tackle your email. I waited at least a year beyond it being an issue. I lived with it being an issue for more than a year before I decided, hey, I have to do something about it. I tried to do it on my own, but it's just way too time consuming to go through that many emails, create that many folders, do that many searches, do that many moves. So I've hired somebody and I'm tackling the email overload as we speak.
If you have a question for Anthony, then head over to www.anthonyflatt.com and leave him a voicemail message for a chance to have your question featured on the show. Thanks for listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast at www.businessatthespeedofsell.com.